How are there people in the same industry as you making double the money per month, triple the money per month, and it doesn't seem like they're doing much different? It seems like you're actually doing the same physical actions, and if anything, you're actually putting more effort in than they are. Well, ultimately, it's because you've been taught to believe that more physical action and more physical effort leads to more physical results. That's not the case. That's actually not how reality works. That's not how getting results work. Is there going to be action and effort putting in? 100%. You need to do that. I'm not living in woo-woo wonderland, and I'm not going to be preaching or teaching anything that doesn't actually make logical sense. But ultimately, that theory of more physical effort equals more physical results is flawed. It doesn't actually apply when it comes to getting big results in your life. And I'm going to tell you exactly how in this video you can put less effort in to get more results, and likely the difference between the version of you now and the version of you that gets huge results. There's a difference, and it's not physical, it's mental. And it's definitely the difference between you and that other person that you see in the same industry making a lot more money. So let's go into it. I want to make this very clear and applicable, and I want you to extrapolate this content and this information and apply it to your life. I'm not here to waste my time or your time. I want this to actually be very applicable. So the first thing that I want you to understand is a law called the law of cause and effect. And I'm going to briefly touch on this because a logical understanding of this allows you to extrapolate how the results in your life even happen. So let's speak about it. The law of cause and effect states that for every effect there is a cause, and every cause must create an effect. And we can extrapolate this to mind over matter, where the mind leads to the matter, or the mental leads to the physical. Okay? And how this works, and I want you to understand that every single thing, every result, every business, every object, it was an idea in someone's mind before it was a physical object that had been created in the physical reality. Obviously, there is physical effort that brings it from the mental to the physical, but there's actually a mechanism that happens inside of you that creates results in your life and ultimately drives the outcomes that you experience. And a lot of people, they try to change that mechanism, or they try to get results by changing the wrong part of it. Because if there's a effect that's created by a cause, we need to look at changing the cause, which is ultimately changing the mind. And this is where a lot of people, they go wrong because they try a lot of physical effort. So I want you to understand this from this concept, that the beliefs that you have will directly impact the experience that you have in life. Okay, the experience, the outcomes, the results. And ultimately, unless you change the beliefs, unless you change what you believe in, you will not be able to change the outcomes and the results that you're getting. And that's why you're trying all these physical actions and you're not getting the results. And it's because you've not got the right belief system. You've not got the right state of mind, the right paradigm to allow you to get the results. And that's why it keeps not working. So how does this actually work? So you in life go through lots of experiences. So when you're growing up, you go through experiences, you win, you lose, your parents install beliefs in you, your parents react to you in a certain way, your friends react to you in a certain way, you go into school and you try and make friends, and you do all these things, you go through all these experiences. And essentially what that does is it forms beliefs. You've experienced something, you observe it, you think about that experience, and the longer you think, the more solid those thoughts become, and then they solidify into beliefs that you have in your mind. And those beliefs today create the way that you think. Okay, and that leads to your thoughts. I'm going to allow you to understand exactly how it works in real time, but this is just the mechanism that happens. So you have these experiences that form beliefs that lead to the way that you think. Those thoughts that you have drive the emotions and the feelings that you experience. And what happens when you feel an emotion, that will dictate the way you behave and the way that you act. So it'll lead to the actions that you take. And we can logically understand that the actions you take will lead to the results that you get, directly impact the results that you get. If you act in a positive way, if you're productive, if you're proactive, you're going to get big results in your life. It's going to happen. But you might be thinking, Kyle, I'm taking the right actions. Well, you might be taking the right actions, but if we look at this mechanism, the results are created by the actions that you take. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to change these actions to change the results. But if we go back to the start of the mechanism, you've got beliefs that ultimately drive the way that you think, the way that you feel, and then the actions that you take. So you're taking actions right now and you're trying to change them, but you've got the wrong beliefs. So you can already see with this mechanism and how this actually works, that unless you change the beliefs, you're not going to be able to change the ideas and the thoughts that you get. You're not going to be able to change how you feel, and therefore you're not going to be able to really change the actions that you take to then get different results. So people are stuck here, okay, trying to change the actions. And if we come back to this concept of mental over physical or beliefs over experience, we'll just use the beliefs over experience to keep it related to exactly what we're speaking about. So we look at the beliefs over experience. What people are trying to change is this. They're trying to change the experience, okay, through physical action. So what they're doing is they're trying to change the experience physically with a lot of physical effort, like we spoke about. And then that is leading to how they feel. So they're doing it backwards. They're trying to change the physical to feel better. They're trying to change the physical to get better results in their life. When we've already discussed that the cause creates the effect, the mental creates the physical, and the beliefs and what you believe in directly cause the experience that you have in life. So how do the beliefs cause the experience? I know you've seen this mechanism, but you might not actually understand exactly how this works. And I'm going to tell you exactly how. Okay, I'm going to tell you exactly how this doesn't work. Cause and effect is actually able to be extrapolated into why you're not getting results by trying to change the physical. Hopefully this is starting to make a little bit more sense to you and how this actually works. But let's make it make a little bit more sense. So Kyle, your beliefs create your reality. Cool. Your beliefs lead to the results that you get. They directly impact the results that you're getting. And you're telling me that by me doing more physical things and trying really hard, I'm not going to be able to fix the problems in my business, because ultimately you wouldn't really be motivated to watch this if you were doing as good as you can. So we can all agree, if you're watching this video, you want more results. It's the only reason you watch videos like this. So if you want more results, that indicates that there's a problem. That problem might be, I'm not as profitable as I could be. So let's roll with that. And that's something that a lot of people have in their business, is they have problems. So they don't have consistent lead flow, their profit margins aren't good enough. And we can obviously understand that you can change the way that your funnels work. You can change the ad creatives that you're putting out. You can change the amount of volume you're putting out, like the content or your sales funnel. You can change these physical things 100%. But you're not going to be able to take the right actions if you don't change the beliefs inside your mind. And let me make that make sense. So I want you to think about it like this. This is you here, okay, and you're looking at reality. You're looking at reality. But how you see reality is through this filter. And this filter, as you're seeing reality, okay, you see reality through this filter. This filter is called the reticular activating system. So I'll write this out so it makes a bit more sense. But the reticular activating system is something that your brain has developed to filter out information that's not necessarily important. So this filters reality, okay, this filters reality based on what you believe in, okay, or what's important. But we're going to roll with the beliefs. So based on what you believe in, your brain will filter reality using the reticular activating system using something called confirmation bias. And this confirmation bias is going to find evidence to back up what you believe in. So let's make this make sense to the person that's trying to get more results and isn't currently getting them. There's a problem that you've got. Maybe your online store isn't as profitable as it could be. Maybe your content isn't working. Maybe when you're sending outreach, you're not getting replies. Whatever it is. If you're going into life, into reality, and in your mind, you're going into reality, and in your mind here, there is beliefs. Okay? Let's just talk about this experience. Pretend that's an experience. If there's beliefs here that are negative, what you're going to do, and then the negative belief would be, I have a problem. The online store's not working. These kind of things. That would be the belief you have. that negative belief is going to literally impact how you see reality. So if you're looking at reality, and let's say you're looking at your business and how to try and fix it, how to try and get more results, if you're looking at reality and your business with the beliefs that are negative, you have problems, I'm not profitable, I can't do it, these things that you might have because you're stressed out, how does that not work? What I'm doing isn't working, I'm going to try really hard. So what you're doing is you're trying really hard, you're putting a lot of effort in, but you're actually looking at reality in your business with negative beliefs. Okay, and because your brain's really smart and it's using a part of your brain called the reticular activating system that is literally designed to filter reality to confirm what you believe in, over the years our brains developed the ability to look or sift through millions of pieces of information per day and only hold on to and use information that backs up what we believe in or what we deem to be important. It's a smart thing that our brains have developed the ability to do, but it's actually how your brain works. So we can't get round this. This is generally how our brain operates. So if we're looking at reality in our business with the belief that there's a problem or we can't do it or I'm not profitable or the online store won't work, if we still have these beliefs, we will not be able to see a solution. So if we see a problem in our mind, okay, we're going to just see problem in our reality. That's literally how this works. So what we want to start doing is we want to start changing our beliefs to align with a solution. And then we'll start to actually start seeing solutions. We'll start to find evidence using confirmation bias that we actually have a solution to the problem. We actually can be profitable. So if you believe I can be profitable, your brain will filter reality to back that up using evidence and confirmation bias to support that belief. But if you're going into life, if you're trying to work harder and the physical action you're taking, you're in this physical matter trying really hard with the wrong beliefs, you can start to understand how your brain will not allow you to find the solution. So, okay, well, how can I start to shift my beliefs? How can I start to actually become someone that believes it's possible? Let's think about it. Let's think about it. How can I start to actually shift this belief? How can I start to actually change my mind in order to filter reality to see it as possible? That's a really good question. Well done for asking that. That's a really good question. So given the fact you asked that question, I'm going to tell you a very good way to do this. A very good way that you can start to find solutions and start to actually become someone that believes that you can be profitable. I'm just sticking with the purple because it's working really well. So we go back to the start where I spoke about the experience. Okay, that leads to the belief. That belief leads to the thought. Okay, that thought leads to the emotion. And then the emotion leads to how you act. And then the action leads to the results. Okay? So as we said, people are trying to change how they act without actually changing how they believe. But what we can actually do, using the power of your mind, using a very powerful tool called visualization, we can start to change the experiences that you then go through an emotional experience. So if what we've emotionally experienced lead to the beliefs, if we can start to experience something different, we can start to shift our beliefs to align with that experience. So a very good way to experience emotionally is visualization. And this is why I actually had a bit of friction with a client recently where he was saying, Kyle, I've got physical problems and you're telling me to just visualize and feel good or trying to experience having the solution. And I said, yeah, because that's how it works. That's how this works. He was stuck here trying to do this. I'm just going to go and try really, really hard. But he's gone into his business, he's gone into reality with a belief that he's not profitable. And all he's going to do is find evidence to back that up. He's not going to actually find a solution in this stressed out state trying to find a problem. So the solution I proposed to him was he used a tool called visualization. And what this does is, it literally, I want you to think about it, it literally tricks your brain. It literally tricks your brain. Because your brain does not know the difference between a vivid imagination, and a real life experience, a reality. It doesn't know the difference. It actually can't tell. So the vivid imagination and the reality, they're the same thing. They're actually the same thing. So what we can start to do is we can start to experience and visualize. So what would we visualize? We would visualize having a solution. So let's use the example of if your business isn't profitable or you're not getting big results. Having a solution was being profitable. That's what you would start to imagine. And you would start to emotionally experience being profitable in this imagination, in this visualization. And it can be something as simple as you start to visualize and imagine someone congratulating you achieving that goal or having that thing, that profitable business. It could be something as simple as that. But what you can do is you can start to get into really vivid imaginations and see it with a lot of detail. But ultimately, you don't necessarily need to. You can visualize an emotional experience, maybe your mum giving you a hug or your dad shaking your hand. A lot of clients that I've had worked with recently, I've got them into a guided visualization and got them into an emotional state where they've actually gave their mum a hug or their dad a handshake and they've started to tear up and get goosebumps. They've started to emotionally experience that life that they want. They've started to, in their mind, shift who they are internally and shift the beliefs that they have. And ultimately what this has allowed them to do is allowed them to see more opportunities. It's allowed them to get more results without taking more physical action. Without putting more physical effort in, they've managed to see more opportunities, take more opportunities, and get more results without doing any more physical work. In fact, my client Gavin has done less physical effort than he ever has in the last 6 months of doing property sourcing. In the last week, he's sourced 3 deals. What's happened? A shift in his mind. Less effort, more results. Because he shifted his mind. He shifted it because he emotionally experienced it and shifted the belief. He then changed how he thought, but more importantly, he changed how he filtered reality and he started to see more opportunities and see more ways of making more money. So you can say having a solution, be more profitable, but another thing that you could think, okay? So imagine you are right now in an industry, maybe you're a sales closer. Let's say you're a sales closer. Imagine you're a sales closer and you're making 5k a month. Or 50k a month, you can extrapolate as to whatever number you're making. And what you want to do is you want to go to 17k a month because you know someone that's making 17k a month. And this thing is your goal. But right now, all you've experienced in your physical life, your physical actions, you've only ever experienced physically making 15k a month. 5k a month, sorry. So how do you go from here to here without more physical effort, without grinding more, without taking more action, again, you're going to have to take action. That's something I want to reinforce. You can't just sit and think and feel your way to reality where you make millions of pounds and get big results. That doesn't make sense. Of course, you need to take physical action. But what most people think is the only way to get results and big results is physical effort. And in this video, I want to make it clear that's not the case. So how do you get here? Well, what you can do is you can start to visualize how it feels to have 17k a month. So you're going to start to emotionally experience, shift your beliefs around having that, and you actually start to emotionally experience that. Once you shift those beliefs and you believe it's possible, you start to emotionally experience it, you'll filter reality and get ideas, you'll see opportunities, you'll see the right people to meet and talk to that will allow you to start making that amount of money. And that's when you take the action. That's when you take the action. Of course, you still need to take action, but you're not going to be able to take the right action, see the right opportunities, see solutions to the problems if your mind is filled with problems. If you believe you're not profitable, if you believe you can only make 5k a month, you're never going to. It doesn't matter how much action you take or how much effort you put in, you're never going to get the results that you want. It's not going to happen. It just genuinely can't happen. We've just explained it. The science shows it. Your brain won't allow you to find the evidence. Okay, and the actions and how you feel, you just won't do it. You can maybe have the one-off result where you have a big month. Okay, that can happen sometimes, but you'll notice if you've had a big month, you've probably came back down to the level that you're usually at, which is 5, 10k a month. Maybe you've had a 20, 30k month and you just came back down. And it's because you're not shifting the beliefs. You're not shifting the thing that actually leads to the actions and then leads to the results. So hopefully you can stop putting too much physical effort into this. Stop trying to force results and start tapping into the power of your mind and actually changing the thing that causes the results in your life. Because without doing that, you're going to keep being frustrated, you're going to keep putting a lot of effort in, and ultimately it's not going to help you. What you can also do is you can also tap the link in the first line in the bio and you can work with me one-to-one. The chances of you going away, shifting your beliefs, completely removing them, tapping into the experience that you want, then ultimately, again, it would be amazing if you've done that, but the chance of you doing that is very, very slim. But there's one thing before you go that I really want to cover this, and it's genuinely how to remove the belief. Okay, so you can shift the beliefs by emotional experience, and that's one really powerful way to do it. But another little step-by-step process that you can do, and I want you to really use this practical and applicable little way of shifting the belief. Because it is a belief that's holding you back a lot of the time. It is a limited belief. It's not because you can't take physical effort, because you're putting all the effort in. So again, Kyle, if it's the physical effort that's not going to get me the results, then it's shifting the beliefs that will. How do I remove a limiting belief? Well, let's quickly cover this before I let you go. I mean, you can leave whenever you want. I appreciate your time and attention. But how do you remove this limiting belief? So let's remove them. Remove limiting belief. Limiting belief. So let's remove them. How do you remove it? So the first step to remove it is become aware. So you need to identify the limiting belief. Limiting belief. You need to identify it. Okay? The reason why, and you think about this, if you've been taking lots of physical effort and things just aren't working, the reason why you're not getting the result is because you're not aware of what's actually not allowing you to get the result, which is a limiting belief. So the first step, and the powerful part of this is noticing and becoming aware of the limiting belief. Perfect. Then I want you to challenge that limiting belief. So challenge it. Ask the question, is it true? Is it true that you can't make 10k a month? Is it true that you can't make 50k a month? Is it true that you cannot make that? Is it true? Okay, another good question. Is it impossible? You ask yourself that. Is it impossible? The answer every time to that is a fat no. It's not impossible. Cool, perfect. So that means it is possible. So you've just identified that you've got a limiting belief that's telling you that you can't do it, but it's unconscious, and that's why it's controlling you, because that belief is not, you're not aware of it. So because you're unconscious of the belief, you're not even aware of the fact that it's holding you back. You're not even aware that that belief is blocking your ability to see solutions and see ways to move forward. So you become aware of it, you challenge it and ask the question, is it impossible? You know it's no. Every time it's no. It's not impossible. Pretty much everything in life is impossible. You can't grow wings and fly, but you can definitely hit 10k a month. You can definitely hit 50k a month. You can definitely make 6 figures a month, because it's not impossible, because someone else has done it. So if someone else has done it, and it's not impossible, cool. What is the positive belief? Obviously, in short, it's I can. Okay? But I can make X, Y, Z. X, Y, Z. That would be the new belief. I can make X, Y, Z. And what I want you to do now is, I want you to then find evidence. So you can use a story from someone else. Okay? You can use a story of someone else. You can also use, again, your own evidence. And a good way to use your own evidence is, did you at some point believe that you could be where you are now? Likely not. If I went back and asked the version of you 6 months ago, a year ago, are you going to be able to achieve this thing that you've now achieved? You probably would have said no. Why? Because you can't tell how it's going to happen. You never know how things are going to happen. That's the fun part of life. Things just play out how they do, and you don't really know how. And ultimately, the reason why you're held back a lot of the time by beliefs is because you don't know how that thing's going to play out. But that's the thing that you don't concern yourself with. You can't concern yourself with how. You need to concern yourself with what and where. Where am I going? What do I want? That's the only things you need to concern yourself with. The how will play itself out as long as you believe in the what and the where. That's how you can use your own. And also you can start to build evidence. And how you start to build evidence is by step number 5. Step number 5 is taking aligned action. Okay, aligned action with that positive and powerful belief. So that step number 5 links directly to that positive belief. Take aligned action to back that up. Okay, what happens is you're going to build momentum. Perfect. Okay, and then what you're going to do is you're going to build a stack of evidence, but you're also going to build a new strong belief that is aligned with the result you want. Once you build that belief, what's that going to do? Let's think about it quickly. Let's tie it back down. So it's going to lead to how you think. So you're going to think, I can do it. It is possible. maybe that's a good idea. And you're going to start to think more positively, but you're going to think more importantly in line with this new belief. Once you build a strong belief, that's going to lead to how you think, and then how you feel, and then how you act, and then you know the score, how you then get results in your life. So you remove the limiting belief by becoming aware of it, you challenge it, you use a positive empowering belief, you then build your evidence or use evidence of someone else doing something crazy. There was people that lived under a bridge and now they're a billionaire. That's a fact. There's people that were homeless, now they're a billionaire, and you can't make 20k a month, and you can't make 50k a month. It's silly. Another thing that you want to do is, you want to, with this limiting belief, you want to view it, and let's just be blunt, you want to view it as stupid. You want to view it as unintelligent. If you don't view this as unintelligent, you're going to hold on to it. You need to view your past thinking as silly, stupid, unintelligent, because if you don't, you're going to still justify it being alive. You're still going to justify that having any relevance, and that's going to stop you seeing solutions, and it's going to cause you to filter reality for failure, like we've spoke about. So ultimately, that's how you get rid of it. And again, the most important part about this is, and I need to really, really reinforce this, is this comes first. The mind comes before the physical. So until you do this work, you're going to be fighting an uphill battle. You're going to be running up this hill that's really, really steep, and you're going to be getting nowhere. It's like you're running on a treadmill. You don't really go anywhere. You're putting all this effort in, You can put the speed up to try and run faster, but the faster you run, the more you just stay in the same spot. The more tired you get, the more frustrated you get, the more stressed you get. You're not going anywhere on a treadmill. And it's the same way with your business right now, the results that you're trying to get. You're not going anywhere because you're trying all these physical things without shifting the thing that actually causes and creates the experience inside your business and the results you get in life. So hopefully that's clear. Hopefully you're able to extrapolate the content from this video and apply it to your life. And hopefully you've actually understood what I've said. Best case scenario. But I appreciate your time and attention. This is definitely going to help at least one of you that's watched this, and I really, really am grateful for your time and attention. As I said before, there's a link in the bio where you can work with me one-to-one. That's when the real magic happens. Free content's brilliant, but you've got no skin in the game. You've got no real reason to apply this, but if you invest in a coach, if you work with someone, and I'm not just saying this for the sake of me to make money or anything like that. Authentically, I have a purpose-driven job, and the more people that I get to work one-to-one with, the more people that get big results. Because the success system that I've got, the thing that I use with clients, has 100% success rate. Genuinely. Every single client has locked it in. Jay, Daniel, Liam, they've all doubled and tripled their revenue. Richard tripled his revenue. Matty turned a 12-month vision into a 6-week reality. Kieran turned a 2-year vision into an 8-week reality, opened up a gym. Now he's opened up a gym triple the size. This work works as long as you tap into it. So I would urge you to tap that link, book the call, let's have a really good conversation, because the results that you want is on the other side of how you change your mind. It's not more physical effort. Hopefully that's clear after this video, but I appreciate your time, and until the next one, I'll see you soon.